Hey, what's good, people? I am Cool Blue, and this is
Lady Blu.
Another episode of Blue Talk. This episode is my episode 4, correct?
I believe so.
Oh yeah, I think it's episode 4, entitled "Popular versus Winner Circle." This is my topic, so of course I'm gonna go ahead and spark it off. I have the definition for popular, which is liked, admired, or enjoyed by many people or by a particular person or group. Then we have the definition for popular circle, which is admiration by a group of people for what they have done, what they have or done. And a couple of examples would be like your influencers, bloggers, fashion collectors, car clubs, etc. Yada 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 yada. So, in the midst of, what would you consider to be, or how would you consider popular circle to kind of more or less form versus like a winner circle?
I feel like popular circles form because someone is trendy, or like everybody is like afraid to say something, like in high school almost.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes because people are hated so much too, they become popular.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. So I think it's a little bit between of like jealousy of why people are in the popular circle, but also like admiration.
Yeah. Like for me, like, you know, like you kind of like, not even based off what like television kind of like the perception of like popular, because that's usually the one that they give us, like, you know, school or whatever, like yada yada yada. You were like popular in high school versus being, you know, like the tail off of like whatever going into adulthood.
But I will say, I realize a lot of older people that's like older than us act like they in high school though.
True.
That's what I was supposed to say. It's a lot of people still act like they're in high school.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, the popular thing for like adulthood kind of becomes a lit cliquish. I mean, and you just kind of like, just like take it as it goes. But like, that's why I was saying, like, one of the examples I had was like car clubs. It's like, you know, like you kind of seen like car clubs when we was like fresh out of high school. Everybody was attached to like a little claw club at like one point in time. It was like nothing wrong with them, but it was like that was kind of like a popular thing to be amongst. And it's like then like in like their like around 08, 09, 2010ish, it was like you had a bunch of like early fashion bloggers, or you had a bunch of like early travel bloggers, or whatever the case may be, and then that became like a trend.
Yeah, this is the trendy thing.
Yeah, so let's dive into the winner circle so that we can kind of get this conversation really started. So, winner circle, admiration by a group of people for the impact they create. And examples of less business, personal, philanthropy. And my examples was like business owners, shout out to the business owners, 9-to-5ers, shout out to the 9-to-5ers, content creators, parents, coaches, all that good jazz, yada yada. And I kind of sort of said, you know, or my big thing on this was don't confuse the two.
Right.
Because a lot of times the popular circle gets confused with the winner circle. So you have these groups where it's like, well, at least nowadays, because we was talking about the older generation, glad that you brought it up, you know, like, we're watching the surges of the younger generation who are monetizing off of their popularity. Whereas though a couple years ago, it was just cool to be popular. You might have still had like a 9-to-5. Once again, nothing wrong with 9-to-5s. There are plenty of people out there with 9-to-5s kicking, so there's nothing wrong with 9-to-5s.
I'm about to be back on the hustle.
But it's like, you know, like a lot of those individuals from the conversations that we've been having, a lot of them felt like they missed their shine, or like a lot of the resources weren't necessarily attainable a few years ago. So it's like you get a lot of that, well, back when y'all was doing X, Y, and Z, I was out here moving around and And it was like you never took your popularity and capitalized on it. Where a lot of the younger generation is taking the popularity that they get in a la Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever the case may be, and they like, oh, I'm trying to make $1 off of it. And everything dollar-wise is kind of equated to success, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So, like, my thing is, do you see a lot of that inside of the generation that we're in, or is it like the older generation, like kind of?
I would still say it's kind of like the older generation, or not necessarily older generation,
because we kind of like fall in the middle. Like our age, we kind of fall in the middle. We aren't necessarily like the youngest, but we aren't necessarily the oldest. Yeah.
I would definitely say it's more prevalent in older millennials, like those who actually like the boom of the internet and like being the first one with the AOL this and figuring that out. I think a lot of times our people who are slightly older than us, sometimes because they didn't figure out how to crack the formula for them back then, not realizing the world was different still, that they kind of get a little upset with those who are now cracking the code that are younger than us.
Yeah. And it's really disheartening to kind of like, I mean, granted, you kind of sort of see where some of the disdain coming at, but it's like, instead of embracing the younger generation and kind of asking for like tips and tricks, it's like, I was out here moving around when you was da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, it's cool to embrace the younger generation and ask for it, but it's like your pride gets in the way and don't necessarily let you.
Every YouTuber I watch for business tips are younger than me. I ain't even gonna lie to you. The oldest one is probably 29 or 30. I'm 32. So you better learn from this younger generation. They know what they doing. Like,
yeah, and that's the thing. I'm about to say, like, the younger generation, like, they don't get enough props, but like when it come to monetization, when it come to like sponsorships and whatever the case may be, like they really found a niche and they own it. And the thing, and I guess the real thing that I'm realistically having an issue with, outside of the fact that like the older generation, like I won't say all, because I'm not trying to make this an older versus younger thing, but it's like the conversations now is that like you wouldn't have been here had it not been for me, which is true in a lot of different cases. But it's like, instead of you hopping back on a horse and trying to find a lane to ride, it's like, oh, well, now it's like, I'm going to sit here and be bitter Betty for the rest of my life because I wasn't able to capitalize at the same clip that you did.
Well, yeah, to kind of swing it back around, gatekeeping don't make you no winner. Like, just because you at the gate controlling how something come in, it doesn't equate to you winning. And I think a lot of people are now getting confused because they're seeing popular people progressing to the winner circle.
Exactly.
And they don't know how to take that, because I think a lot of people assume, like with you and I, because we upgraded with the intro, or, you know, we're posting more consistently, or, you know, we're getting a lot of well, not a lot, but like an increase of comments and watchers. I think a lot of people think like, oh, they're on YouTube, so they're making all this money now. And it's like, nah, bro, we work and like we budget and like we work with our own camera guys stuff. Like, it ain't just like, oh yeah, we just started getting like 4 to 5 figure deals and we there. We still grind.
Yeah, I'm about to say like the grind.
We are still in the popular circle. We progressing to the winners, but we are still in the popular circle.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's the real reason why I wanted to do this, to kind of catch it, because it's like, while transitioning over to the winner circle, like, don't confuse the two, because a lot of times people think of popular and they see $, and it's like, oh, well, this person ends up doing X, Y, and Z, and then it's like 5 years go by, 10 years go by, you didn't let the popularity of what you had going on subside, and now it's like everybody else was capitalized off. It's like, oh, well, I was here, I was in the mix, and it's like,
yeah, but that second win ain't always guaranteed.
Exactly.
Stop watching everybody else grass grow. That's the real problem and the difference between popularity and winner. Popular people, a lot of times, or people who want to be popular, watch other people grass grow instead of worrying about their own.
That, and the fact that I don't like the fact that a lot of people, like, pardon my language, shit on 9-to-5ers. Because there are a lot of 9-to-5ers out here who are winning, getting quiet money, and hustling on the side and doing whatever, and you assume because they aren't popular, they not winning. Yeah, you feel what I'm saying? I'm like, my God, that is not the case. It's like everybody not flashy. Everybody not flashy, and they
I'm flashy, but not everybody.
I'm a little flashy, but it's like I've been blessed with the opportunity to talk to some of the people who are like really, really seeing a bag out here, and you'll walk past them every day and wouldn't necessarily know it, but because they not necessarily driving the latest, wearing the latest, or being in the mix of, you just automatically assume that they lose. And I mean, granted, to theirs, they want it that way. They like it that way.
Right.
But a lot of times people confuse the two. Even when we were sitting back talking about like parents, and coaches, and content creators. It's like sometimes content creators start off in a popular circle and they like, hey, like these little gigs to like, nightclubs and hosting that like little
free clothes.
Free clothes. It's like that only gets you but so far. That don't necessarily bring the bag in.
Elevated.
Exactamundo. And that's basically where I've been trying to like, or you start seeing the conversations, and that's the real reason why I wanted to do this video. It's like, my God, like it's a difference. You want to see it at this level, or you want to see it at this level. Because a lot of times seeing it at this level only gets you crumbs off the table. Like if you wanted to elevate, like, and you might have the unpopular opinion in a popular group. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times because your opinion is unpopular in a popular, you'll kind of subside. Or you'll kind of stay quiet so that you don't necessarily look like the oddball in the bunch.
And it's okay to not... You can always win without being super well known. It just depends on what industry you go in. Or like, for instance, our photographer, great guy, but he will not get in front of the camera besides for rare occasions. Like, but I'll bet you one thing, he collecting that check from us and whoever else is coming through.
Exactly.
So it don't stop you from doing, and a check is not always winning. So I don't want people to think that either. Like when, like you said in the definitions, making an impact, like, inspiring people. Like I feel like on my end, because I don't always think of myself as popular, like y'all might say different, I don't know, whatever. But even with me, like I started doing sis videos.
Yeah.
I don't get paid from that. I don't, whatever else. Not that I want to eventually one day, but right now it's genuine from the heart. But honestly enough, I feel like I'm a winner and I'm doing something well because of the messages I get. So it's like, you helped me do this, or I wore this today and didn't give a whatever about what whoever thought about it. And that to me is more empowering than somebody writing a check. I mean, Brandon, you want to write me a check?
I ain't gonna go and toss something my way. But
definitely toss it my way. But it's still payment and fulfillment to know that I'm out here making a positive impact.
Exactly.
And I'd rather touch someone's life and make them feel amazing about themselves than making someone feel shitty and getting a check. And excuse my language for that.
Yeah. But that's basically what it is. I'm about to say, like, but not, like I said, not to necessarily beat a dead horse. But anything else you want to add to the mix of it? I'm about to say, because I know I've been yamming for a minute, so.
Honestly, like, a lot of winner circle versus popular circle is a lot of old sayings that we hear all the time. Don't judge a book by its cover. You know how many people, when I used to work in retail, my other coworkers wouldn't deal with or whatever, and then one day they just came in and dropped a bag with me? A lot. Because you judge the book by its cover. Or it's like, if you're always watching what this person is doing and that person is doing and that person is doing, you're never going to accomplish what you're doing. I had to learn that myself, like, why am I not popping off? Like, why am I da-da-da? And then one day I just randomly was like, let me put something out about this, because I used to feel this way and now I'm feeling different. So let me encourage somebody else to do it. And that was my thing.
Yeah. Any final thoughts I'm about to say before we close this out?
Be nice to each other, love each other. And don't just be trying to befriend people because of how many followers they have. That's weird. That is really weird.
It is.
It is like, I need to talk to them because they have 20,000 followers. So,
yeah.
I don't mean...
You don't know what they did to get those followers either. I'm about to say, like, that's a whole nother conversation in itself. But like I said, final thoughts for myself, it's a mixture of what I always say, time is currency. And the reason why I say it for this is because, like, the amount of time, the amount of effort, the amount of energy that you put into your quote-unquote popularity at the moment, or if you starting to catch a cool or W, is to, like, strive and thrive. Like, if we told you what we did today to get to this point of this, like, video, it was a lot of impromptu. I'm gonna go ahead and put it to you like that. It was a lot of impromptu.
I lost the thumbnail. I don't even know when I lost it today.
Exactly.
That's how crazy it's been. I just looked at it. And it's gone.
I noticed that it was gone. I'm about to say, that's what I'm saying. It's like people don't see the work behind. People don't see the work behind the lens, and it's like you just automatically make assumptions without, And it's like invest that time, invest that energy into something that you really, really, really want, and it's like eventually it's going to happen for you. It might not seem like it. It might not seem like it, but eventually it's going to happen for you.
And it's going to take a while. Well, I won't say it take a while because some people, they just catapult right away, which that was God's plan for them.
Exactly.
But some of us, we got to toil the soil a few times. You got to put in work. That's simple as that.
Yeah. And the final note, what God has for you is for you. Nobody else. And that's where people get it confused. Like, regardless of winning popularity, whatever, like whatever God has for you is specifically for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we good to go?
Yeah. I'll add one last thing. It has nothing to do with the topic, but just want to dedicate this video to Reverend Luckett. He just passed away. He was my stepfather for 11 years. Yeah. Him and my mom been married for about 11, 12 years.
Yeah.
So I just want to dedicate this video and send my condolences out to the family. Love you.
There you have it. This has been another episode of Blue Talk. I am, of course, Cool Blue, and this is
Lady Blu.
LadyBlu.co. Don't forget.
Yes, that's my blog. It's 1626 Beauty. That's where you can get some makeup brushes to get a beautiful beat.
What's the name of the project I just dropped?
I've been running. Download that now. It's on SoundCloud. Did you put on that piff?
Not yet.
Well, he gonna put on that piff, and now I'm put the link in the description.
Bong bong. There you go.
And book our videographer and photographer too.
Bong bong. There you go. Put a couple dollars in a Black-owned business. Thank you.